Hey, welcome to Integrated Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I'll try to get you in here. I can't quite see well, so you can see the background here. We're on a little trip, a little half fun and half business, looking at some property trip. And I wanted to talk a little bit about selecting land. There's a lot of people they're thinking about buying land. They're wanting to get out of the cities, which is, it's a good idea if you're in a city. Get out into more sparsely populated areas. Now, even if you're in a suburb, you want to have a place to go to improve your position. But we're looking for a couple of little different places, and so I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. By the way, we're down in southern Missouri, where my family was from way back since they came up from South Carolina and Georgia in the 1860s and 70s. So we're down in a part of the country that I have known very well since I was a boy. My family used to have a bunch of farms up a little bit north of here, and so now we're looking to kind of come back. We're looking at a couple of different options. Actually, we're looking at maybe buying a couple of different types of places, so I want to talk about that. First off, we're looking for a place to resettle permanently within the next few years. And if you follow me at all, you know that I watch the markets very closely, very carefully. I always keep my eye on what the real estate market's doing, what land is doing up and down, because it fluctuates wildly. What the stock market's doing, what the money markets are doing, where to put money, where to invest, and that's what I want to talk a little bit about here. As I've said before, and as people ask me, it's not time to buy land quite yet. Now, if you feel that you just have to go out there and get something right now for whatever reason, it's not for me to say not to do it, but I'm going to tell you that the market is at its peak, and I'm still sucking on a cough drop. Sorry, I'm still dealing with this junk. And the market is at its peak, and it's going to go south here pretty soon. Bubbles always burst, and when that happens, the value, not the long-term value, but the saleable value of real estate and land plummets. So if you can wait another year or two, you're going to get a lot better deal. You're going to get a lot more land for your money, or you're going to get the same land for a lot less money. Either one of those is a smart move. By the way, we just came through, before I get to talking about what kind of land you want to look at, and we're looking at a piece here that I like very much. And I'll tell you why in a second. We just had lunch at Lambert's in Ozark, Missouri. And if you've ever been to Lambert's, you know how I feel right now, like I'm about to explode. And if you have been there, you're probably very jealous of me right now, right? We had a good time. If you haven't been to Lambert's in Ozark, Missouri, if you're ever down south of Springfield, between Springfield and Branson, southern Missouri, treat yourself, go to Lambert's. It's great. I am full of chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes and fried potatoes and turnip greens and pickled beets and throwed rolls and fried okra and everything you can imagine. Now, there are several places all through the Ozarks. There are different places called Ozark, but the town of Ozark is where it is. Okay, now back to land. We're looking at a couple different places. We're looking at a place to relocate permanently for a couple of different reasons, which I won't discuss right now. And then also to have a halfway location in case we wanted to get out from the area where we currently live. We want to get there in a hurry, and maybe before we're ready to relocate for good. The first thing that I look for in land is water. If you don't have water, you don't have a good deal. If you don't have running water on your property, you're going to have to dig or drill a well, which can be expensive and it can be iffy. We had a bunch of farms up in central Missouri, and we had a number of wells and a number of ponds and spring-fed ponds and things like that. The wells can be so different within a mile or a half a mile. We had one well that the water was just sweet as could be, and we had another well you could barely drink at. But so I don't like to depend on wells. If that's the best you can do, then that's the best you can do. But if at all possible, look for natural water. Now, the best thing is a spring. And if you can get a spring-fed pond, that's even better. Now, we had just about the perfect situation on one of our properties that we sold some time ago. Wish we had it back, but, you know, que sera, sera, right? It was a spring-fed pond over with an embankment down which the overflow flowed at a pretty good rate. It was a pretty high volume spring. So as it spilled over the spillway of the pond, it had a good drop down into the draw below it. And the reason that that's good, first off, you have your spring water. Secondly, you have your pond in which you raise fish, and you know you can go for a swim. Anybody who hadn't swum in a farm pond, you've missed it. I was talking to a buddy of mine just yesterday about that, and for kids, there's nothing like the feel of the mud between their toes, you know, walking into a farm pond. And then there's all those little things that nibble on your legs, and you're not sure what they are, right? But having a spring-fed pond, and then you can raise fish in it, and then that drop, anytime you have good running water or a good drop to water, you have the ability to generate power, electricity. So, and that's what I'm looking at right back here. This is a very good flowing, a high rate flow stream, and you could generate some very good power out of that. If you don't have good running water, you know, you're going to have to, if the grid, I mean, I think of everything as in a grid down situation, right? That's what I'm about. That's what my books were about. So I'm always looking at power generation, not having to rely, well, naturally on the grid, but not having to rely on generators and things like that. So water is the most dependable source you can get. That's why they, you know, all the dams are the things that supply the water. If you don't have fast-flowing water like this, sometimes a spring can do it. If you can find both, that's the best, because now this spring here is a year-round, and much of it, as you can see, is rock bottom. So that's good. It's not, so it doesn't dry up during the dry seasons. And down here in this part of the Ozarks, you have a lot of water. You know, there's places that you can't throw a hammer in the air and let it hit the ground without water busting out of it. And then there's other places you can dig and dig and dig and dig and not get water. So, you know, making sure that there's viable water on the property before you buy it is very important. Well, it seemed like I was going to stick something in there. Well, anyway. Oh, yeah. If for water service for drinking, a spring is preferable to running water like this. Because you're not going to own all the land around, right? You're not going to own 100 square miles of land. And, you know, in a grid down situation, who knows who's going to be upstream from you. Anybody who's upstream from you can affect your water supply, right? Remember all the John Wayne movies, you know, where, I don't remember anyone in particular, but, you know, back in the Old West, whoever, and we see it out west right now, whoever controls the water upstream controls the people downstream. And without a spring, you're going to be at the mercy of anybody who's upstream from you. Now, if you got good people, that's fine. But if you got people that end up not liking you, you know, for whatever reason, all they have to do is go down and kill a cow in the middle of the stream, and as that thing starts decomposing in the water, you're going to have, you know, you're going to have issues. You're going to have challenges that you didn't have before. So for pure drinking, you try to get a spring. For water, for power generation, you want good flow like this, or a spring like I described on our old property. So those are the other thing that I look for in land. My kids are down there playing in this because they like it. Let's see if maybe a couple of them. We'll see if. Yeah, maybe not. The other thing that I look for is mixed topography. I want some high spots, and I want woods, and I want open spaces. You know, you want woods for, well, natural habitat, fuel source, and it's just pretty. You want the open spaces for farming. Now, the Ozarks is not it's not known for farming. You know, there's a lot of rocks and thorn trees and clay and things like that, but it can be, I mean, you know, the trees grow, everything grows, and you can make things grow, and for your own purposes. It's not, you know, it's not a good area for large-scale farming, for corporate farming, but if you have good open areas, you can get everything done that you want to. If you go into, now, you know, you get into some back areas to where it's just all trees, you can clear it out, but if you do it yourself, it's going to take forever, and it's going to make you tired, and it's going to, you know, like I said, it's going to last a long time. If you pay somebody to do it, it's going to be expensive. So there's plenty, and that's the cheapest land, of course. The cheapest land is nothing but trees with limited access. You know, if that's your thing, if that's what you want, well, there's plenty of land like that. But my suggestion is you try to find some mixed use land, because there's plenty of that out there also. A little bit more expensive, but like I say, wait a little bit. I'm not buying this week. You know, I'm seeing what's out there. I keep track of the market every day, and I'm waiting until it goes down, and I know it's going to go down. Right now, as I've said before, it's the time to kind of draw in your horns, save your money, stack your cash. Don't be spending any money that you don't have to spend, because you're going to get so much more for that money here in the next year or so, maybe even before then. I'm going to make a video here pretty soon on what I think may happen in October. A lot of people are looking at October as a time when some different things may happen. We'll see. But so keep those things in mind. The number one thing, and that people don't think about, is water. And I don't suggest that anybody depend on well water. If you have natural water, that's the kind of water you want. And then you can sink a well if you want to, you know, to run water into the house that you build, or a house that's there, or whatever like that. But there is nothing that's going to replace good water like this. So anyway, everybody should be, if you already don't have a place out of the city, you should be looking, and the time is soon coming for you to really be thinking about buying, even if you don't build something on it immediately. Be looking, and you know, make contact with a real estate agent in the area that you kind of think you might want to move to, or just put a second home in, or a second, you know, not everybody's going to have a second home, but just some land to go down. I mean, maybe you just want to go out and camp on it or something like that. But get some land. You'll know when the time is right, when the bubble bursts and it goes down, and every penny you save right now, you're going to be able to put to good use when it's time to buy. And then slowly, you know, start improving it. Start planting some fruit trees and some berry bushes, and just start to make the improvements that you'll want. And you know, you can either do it as your next forever home, or start making it a welcoming place for any time you need to get up scoot your boot, right? So I'm going to get back to it, but I just wanted to talk about that water, water, water. You know, they say that the three things in real estate is location, location, location. Well, kind of in this, but the three things for me is water, 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 and away from, you know, away from other people to the extent close enough to where you have some contact, because contacts are good, and contacts can plug some holes that you might have. They can also cause troubles that you didn't have before, but you know, that's always a trade-off, and you make your own decision. So I'm going to leave it at that. You all have a good day. We're going to head farther south and do a little more scouting around, see some things, and I'm seeing whether this one's going to fall in or not. Let's see. There they are. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and your preparations is about thinking, watching, planning, being smart about your next step, and being ready to take that next step when the time is right to take it. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.